Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast. I say that with a pause because it's been a few weeks since we uploaded an episode, but it's all in good reason. We wanted a little bit of a break after the Olympic Games. I got quite ill. We had children who were ill as well, and we just needed a little bit of a break. But we're reinvigorated. We're ready to go again for 2024-25 season, and we're going to kick things off talking about some racing straight away.
Yeah, a bit of time off since the Olympics. We've been itching to get back into swim things, if we're completely honest. I guess it doesn't start too much better than the Swimming World Cup series. As usual, as it always is, it's 3 legs across the tour, 3 different destinations, and some decent prize money to be won. And I think that's probably the biggest talking point from this tour, as it usually is.
Yeah, so this first episode of the podcast back is going to be discussing and previewing, like we always do when it comes to any major competition, previewing the swimmers that are in the water, some wild world record predictions that, you know, it wouldn't be us coming back onto the podcast scene without us doing that. And then we'll touch upon at the end of this episode a little bit of a news come out from Aquatics GB with the new head coach announcement in Steve Tigg taking on the reins. We have thoughts about this, which we'll get to at the end of this episode. Yep. They are good thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Positive, definitely. Yes.
100%. Okay, so no dawdling around. We've given our reasons for being off. We've got lots of racing to talk about because the end of the 2024 year is going to be a fast few months with short course racing all over the place. Yes, we're previewing the Swimming World Cup series that are happening over in Asia for the next 3 weeks, but we also finish in Budapest with the Short Course World Swimming Championships, of which, the field is going to be stacked. Off the back of an Olympic Games, which, I mean, I don't think, it was slower than we thought heading into the Olympic Games, but coming out of the back of it, I'm not thinking swimming slow. I think for an Olympic Games, it's around about where it should have been.
The superstars that were, let's say, supposed to win performed. So your Leon Marchand, your Summer McIntosh, your Kaylee McKeown, those sort of swimmers, they did what they needed to do. Maybe they wanted to go faster, but I think Marchand PB'd in most races. McIntosh pretty much was there or thereabouts. Kaylee McKeown was just off. So they swam well. I suppose you're just expecting fireworks because it's the big thing, but there's a lot of pressure that comes with it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And most of those names that you've literally just said are going to be racing this short course calendar. We know Kaylee McKeown isn't going on to Budapest. She ends her year racing, I guess.
Short course season, if you like. Yep.
Yeah, she ends it at the end of this World Cup series. So let's talk about the World Cup series then. So it goes 3 weeks back to back over in Asia. You got Shanghai, Korea, and Singapore. Now, this series as a whole, you've already said prize money, Dan. It does tend to fund some swimmers' careers. Yep. I'm not going to speak for those swimmers because hopefully we can get a conversation with a few of them as these meets are happening. But the likes of Matt Sates always targets the World Cup series with big prize pools on offer when his country of South Africa doesn't offer a huge amount of funding to a swimmer like himself. It's really actually quite important.
And that's the same for Chad, actually, funnily enough, both South African. Yeah.
I would say Chad probably has a few more sponsors than Matt said.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah. But we're also going to be spoilt by the fact that we are coming off the back of the Olympic Games. The last time there was short course racing was like ISL off the back of the 2021 Olympic Games, and that was fast.
Yeah.
And from looking like even very early doors, you've seen what the Aussies have done over at their short course championships, which, by the way, who races national short course championships in September?
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
That's really, really weird. But Kaylee McKeown's already broken a world record. I would say, or hazard a guess, that we're going to see a few more. If it's not over these 3 weeks, of which there is going to be good prize money if you break a world record, it will be in Budapest in December.
Yeah, there is definitely incentive to swim fast over the next 2 months before this calendar year is out. These swimmers will have had their rest, I suppose, after the Olympics, as every Olympic swimmer will have done. And then it's all about short course and underwater specialists and the fast twitch guys, especially with the sprint distances, to try and get those fast times. And, you know, these records, these world records, not many people hit them, of course, because most of the target is long course meters for Worlds and Europeans and Olympics, of course. So there's records that a lot of swimmers can potentially hit.
Yeah, do you think the reason we're getting so excited about this short course season is maybe short course racing is a lot more about your skills than it is your big aerobic fitness. Or not even aerobic fitness, just fitness in the pool and time in the pool that is needed for Olympic racing and long course racing.
I was thinking about this earlier before we came on, and I do think Michael Phelps is obviously the biggest name in the sport and probably always will be, and he never swam short course. And I wonder that's the reason why not many people talk short course, because it's all about long course meets, it's all about the Olympics. And I don't remember off the top of my head Ian Thorpe doing many short course races either. The only real one from that sort of generation, Ryan Lochte, and he utilised that quite well, you know. But because Michael Phelps is the name, I don't know if many people want to or have wanted to watch short course racing, because it doesn't, in a way, mean much compared to your long course.
I think it's more exciting.
Yeah, I think it's changing. I do think it's changing. That sort of, let's say, Phelps era or the Phelps mentality is now changing. And like you were saying, short course meters is all about the skills and that sort of side of it. And I just wonder if it's a little bit more exciting, especially the prize money. More swimmers, top swimmers, are now being involved or wanting to get involved in short course racing.
I think it's more exciting because there's a little bit more unpredictability about it, because we know what all of these swimmers can do long course. You get to the Olympic Games, and albeit we don't get it right every time, but you can usually predict a podium going in. Short course meters, we don't really.
Different swimmers.
Like, we do know Kate Douglas is exceptional at short course yards.
Yes.
I don't know what sort of time she's going to do short course meters. She could come away from the end, back end of this year, with 4 world records for all I know.
Who knows?
It's the element of unknown that actually sometimes swimming misses. Sometimes it really struggles to even get your experienced fans, your diehards, really, like I said, struggle with excitement because of unknown. And I feel like the back end of this season, there's a lot of unknown and there's a lot of potential for excitement.
There's a lot of new names that could come through as well. So you have your long course swimmers, but then you also have your short course specialists. To think of someone, Shimanovic or Beta Nelson was extremely good in ISL because of the short course format. And they made a name for
themselves because you've just remembered them.
But yes, exactly. Yes. But then you go to the long course scene and they're not really kind of there. But short course, they're there and they're winning this prize money, and maybe, sponsorship aside, we've got no idea, but maybe it's funding their year or their career almost. But it's different names, and it is almost a different competition. Well, it is a different competition, but it's a different kind of format which utilises different swimmers more.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's stop rambling on about how much we're potentially going to enjoy the next few months, because we are going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy it a lot, and we're going to be talking to you guys about it as well. Hopefully bringing some interviews from people who are racing over in Asia. Let's take a look at the big names who are confirmed at every single leg of the World Aquatics Swimming World Cup series. There are 12, of which I would presume World Aquatics have funded for them to get there for these meets. They've paid a appearance fee, I would have thought, which swimming needs more of this. I'm sure
there's some sort of contract in there.
Absolutely.
They're labelled as the Tremendous 12, apparently, so World Aquatics have said.
So we've got Kate Douglas, Siobhan Haughey, Kaylee McKeown, Regan Smith, Zhang Yufei, Thomas Chekon, Chad Leclos, Ching Haiyang, Leon Marchand, Nicolo Martinenghi, Arnaud Kaminga, and Pan Zhanle. What I like, kind of straight away, before we even look at what racing is going to be happening, there's head-to-heads in here, and there's head-to-heads that they've kind of purposely picked. There's not many of them, but there will be ones. So Kaylee McKeown against Regan Smith, they have manufactured that head-to-head for 3 weeks of the year, and I'm loving that. I want to see that. Then you've got Ching Haiyang, Nicolo Martinenghi, Arnaud Kaminga. They've manufactured a 3-headed 100-meter breaststroke head-to-head for 3 weeks of the year. People are going to tune in, even if it's just for those 2 races. And then you throw in Pan Zhanle for the 100-meter freestyle. Well, people are going to want to watch that. And same with Leon Marchand.
Yeah, there's more highlights, if I'm honest with you. But Kaylee and Regan is the number one exciting races to watch, both,
especially with the world record in the 100 back.
The 50 could be up for grabs. The 200, who knows? They could go for all of them, if I'm honest. Beta Nason I've spoken about as well. Ingrid Wilm will also be swimming the backstroke on the female side. And then I think the biggest highlight on the men's side is the breaststroke. You got Corbeau, Martinenghi, Ching Haiyang, Kaminga, Shimanovic I've spoken about before, Leon Marchand, if he counts as like a 100 meter, but he'll definitely do the 200. Yeah, that's the final right there, isn't it? And then the male IM as well, when you've got Duncan involved, Matt Sates, Claire Butts going, Rossetti, Wang Shun, of course. China have got a very strong team. Michael Andrew always targets these sort of meets because I think he's quite good at the 50, well, especially 50s, but the short course format. So there are very exciting races to keep us entertained. Are you not entertained? I think we probably will. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Marchand against Duncan Scott, which is confirmed definitely for the first 2 legs on the entry list. From what I've seen, Duncan is heading to Shanghai and Korea. I don't believe at the point of recording the Singapore entry list has been fully announced.
No, I haven't seen it. Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to all 3. If he is, we're in for a treat.
Well, we are.
Because it was a great head-to-head at the Paris Olympic Games. And like you've already said, Dan, you throw in Matt Sates, who really targets this meet. He kind of has to. He always wins big in terms of like the overall standings and the points and the prize fund that they put together. You got Wang Shun. Michael Andrews a little bit of a wild card, maybe for the IM races, like you said.
You never know.
He didn't go to the Olympic Games. He's got a new coach now. He's not coached by his dad anymore. Claire Burt, Rossetti, those two maybe a bit longer distance needed.
I would have thought so, yeah, but they are quite big names in the
I was going to say,
world,
we
definitely.
have named a final of at least 7 very, very high-quality swimmers here that, you know what, you'd be happy with those names as an Olympic final, close to it,
Well,
if there was maybe a few more Americans in there.
I mean, the 200 IM Olympic final, the podium was Marchand, Duncan and Wang Shun, and they were all racing.
They're all here.
So, you can't complain too much. So the male breaststroke, male IM is definitely big highlights. Another one I'm looking forward to, actually, is the female fly. So Regan will be doing that, as well as Zhang Yufei in a 200, more so than any other, even though I imagine Regan might even do the 100 as well. Throw Louise Hansen in there as well, and you've got a nice triple head monster in that sort of race, and that's really quite exciting as well. Great chance to showcase underwaters, because of course when it comes to 100 fly, they're going to do most of that race underwater. So that's another one to look out for too.
Maybe that's not so good for the sold-out crowd. That is the one thing about short course racing. If it's all underwater skills, you're going to struggle to see it unless you've got kind of one of the cheap tickets right up in the top of the stands.
Yeah,
for us at home, like watching it, we're going to really enjoy it.
With the underwater camera, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those things that, what can you do? What can you do with the spectators on the side? Because they're going to spend most of the time underneath the water, aren't they? So, but ISL never seemed to struggle with that, did they?
Well, they had like half a glass side to the pool at one.
That was in Vegas, wasn't it? Yeah. Maybe you should do that.
Well, we've never seen that again since, so maybe not.
No, shame. Shame.
Okay, what world records, or maybe we should say this, who do you think has a chance of breaking short course world records? Let's preview individual swimmers a little bit more.
Well, let's start with Kaylee McKeown, I suppose, since she's just broken a world record very, very recently, last month or so, wasn't it, at the Australian Nationals. I suspect she'll probably want to break that world record again for extra prize money, and who's to say that she won't do that, especially when she's racing Regan Smith as well. Maybe Regan will break that, if I'm honest. She already holds a 200 backstroke, I believe, so she probably want to target that too. The 50 is a little bit tougher. She's not really an out-and-out sprinter, but she has the long course world record for it, doesn't she? So
but it's Maggie McNeil, and she was like the best underwater swimmer in the world at that point in time when that world record went.
Yeah, or maybe she still is. Well, she's not. She's retired.
No, she's retired.
But she's still very strong at it. But yeah, I think Kaylee McKeown has a good shot at definitely 1, if not 2. And if it's not Kaylee, it's going to be Regan, as it was at the Olympics.
I'm really looking for... I'm going to stick on the women's theme here then. Okay. Kate Douglas, she dominated the college scene and set ridiculous times in short course yards. She obviously translated that very well over to long course meters over the course of her career. This Olympic Games, the same for Gretchen Walsh. Gretchen is going to race short course meters at the World Championships. I don't think she's doing this World Cup series. But Kate Douglas in a 200 IM, 200 meter breaststroke, maybe even the 100 breaststroke, 100 free. I don't quite know what could happen because her underwaters are outstanding. Yeah,
and that only bodes well, especially on the breaststroke. I think she's got a very strong chance. And again, I don't know the world records offhand. She'll have to fact check me while I'm speaking here. But I think she's got a good chance of these breaststroke.
It would be big. So the world record in the 200 is a 2:14.5 in a super suit by Rebecca Soni in 2009.
Yeah, she was good, wasn't she, to be fair?
But then there's a 3-way tie for the 100-meter breaststroke world record between Ruta, Alia Atkinson, and Alia Atkinson swam it again. So
What time was that?
that is a 102.3 from 2013, 14, and 16. Like these, the thing about the world records in short course meters, because they don't get targeted all that often, like we said in that intro, there's some long-standing ones here.
Yeah.
That could go.
Well, Ali Atkinson, I would arguably say now I'm having to rack my brain here, but I think she's one of the strongest at the underwater breaststroke phase. Like she would take chunks out of people. And Ruta is all about the explosive start off the blocks. And then Kate Douglas is your sort of, let's say, all-rounder if you're comparing those two. I think Douglas may have a better shot at the 200. I'd say she's more of a 200 breaststroker than a 100. But then to go 214, it's tough. But she went 219 at Olympics, so I don't know. It depends how much training she's done since Paris, of course.
So Kate Douglas's PB in the 200 breaststroke is a 2:15.7. So she's got to knock more than a second off her PB to get down to this. And I actually think Efimova might have gone faster than the world record, but it may not be on the system. Rescinded because of doping violation. There we go. We don't need to discuss that any further.
Yeah. Even though, so it's just over a second off her PB. But when was the last time she raced
2022.
So 2 years ago. Okay, well, yeah.
Well, she's got a lot faster since then.
Exactly, yeah. So I honestly, even though we always say like a second is a big chunk of time, and it actually is, I think there's a good possibility that she gets that. Yeah. And then if we stick on the theme of female swimmers here, Siobhan Hawley is racing as well. She was targeting the 200 free for quite a while, actually, and I'm now trying to remember when she was really gunning for that time, and I believe she did hit that time.
Yeah, she's got the world record.
Yeah,
150.3. She got it in 2021.
Yeah, that was a quick swim. And then for the 100 free, maybe if you've got Kate Douglas and Siobhan Hawley battling it out against each other, I think maybe the 100 free might be a little bit harder if you've got someone like Sostrom.
So Kate Campbell has the world record in a 50.25.
Yeah. Ooh.
So Siobhan Hawley's got to lose over half a second from her PB back in 2021 when she was in that shape to hit the 200 free world record.
I see Hawley more as a long course swimmer. But then again, I think
some of these short course world records are nuts.
Yeah, this is the problem. I don't know them, and this is where swimming needs to. I know.
I'm going to get to know them over the next few weeks.
I'm going to have to as well. And that, on the female side, that's probably all I have at the top of my head. Unless you have any others, we'll go to the men.
I don't think anyone's getting near Hossu world records in IM.
I don't think so. No, they were quick.
Maggie McNeil's in 100 flies. No.
I don't think so.
200 fly?
Regan, 200 fly. What's the time she's got to go?
She's got to go sub 2.
Oh, boy.
That's a Belmonte world record.
Oh, man.
She's the only ever swimmer to go sub 2. Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
That's an outside chance for me. That's tough.
Oh.
Sub 2 for a female 200 fly. Man, what have you got to split for that first 100?
God knows. Here's the thing, like you're looking through these times, and Regan Smith isn't on any of them because she's never raced short course meters.
I don't remember her racing it. They've all done yards, these Americans, but I don't remember many, if any, doing short course meters.
I think that's the most exciting thing because Regan could blow up. Like all of these Americans have the chance to wipe out a lot of world records. I feel
so unknown, isn't it? And I suppose that's the beauty of it. I guess they've all done yards, apart from the ones who've done ISL, of course.
That was a while ago now, though.
That's going back, So yeah, it's exciting. That's exciting.
Men's side then, Leon Marchand. I'm just going to start there and just say, okay, he's dominated the Olympic Games. He's dominated Phelps's world records long course. He's dominated NCAAs, of which I'm pretty sure he's got most of the records there. I wouldn't be surprised if the 200... Oh, my God, that's fast. 200 breaststroke goes. Really? Because I remember ISL, Marco Koch was really gunning for that. I do think it is capable. He's got to go at sub 2 minutes .1, which is fast. The 200 fly, which was broken in 2022, he's got to go sub 146.85. If you're a diehard fan, write these times down because that one's
comparison website.
That's fast as well. The 200 IM is a Lochte one. He's got to go sub 149.6. And the 400 IM is Daya Sato's a 3:54.81. I'm going to say all of those are within reach just because of how good he is. But he's not been in the water this long. So maybe it's Budapest. Budapest is a fast pool. Maybe it's Budapest where these pop up. Maybe not the World Cup series.
Well, maybe he'll do a little bit of a tester in terms of, this is the world record split I've got to do over the 100 metres. Let's say, if you're targeting, let's say, the 200 breaststroke, what split have you got to do to break that world record, whatever it is, hit that time, see how you feel. If you're feeling good, carry on doing it. And if you don't feel great, and if it doesn't happen that time, then do it at the next stop or the next stop. And then the final chance is Budapest, I guess.
Did.
Yeah,
this is literally what he did a
time.
few years ago when he was really going after the 100-meter freestyle world record. He was, like you say, playing about with tactics, hitting peak form as these meets went along, which is like the best part of back-to-back racing. Back-to-back meets. It's why I personally love the World Cup series so much.
Yeah.
And Kyle Chalmers' 100-meter freestyle world record is a 44.84 for those interested in what Pan Zhanle has to go.
Yeah.
Everyone in Shanghai is gonna be there to watch him and Qing Haiyang. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes, given what he did in Paris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to go off the relay split. So he went a 45, didn't he, for the relay takeover? And I wonder if that is more of a guideline than.
I don't know if his turns are his specialty though.
They're
swim
solid.
speed.
Yeah, they're solid, but they're not sort of outstanding compared to.
But Kyle's?
Kyle's. They're about the same as Kyle's, aren't they? Roughly speaking.
Okay.
And actually, at that time when he broke the world record, Kyle's underwaters were looking very, very special, weren't they?
Yeah.
So you never know. It's a hard world record to get, but again, within capabilities. And I don't remember Pan racing short course again, so he could throw it right out the window with all of our plans and predictions here. But I suspect he will be targeting that world record. He's got 3 chances, 4 if he goes to the short course world champs as well. Going back to Marchand, I think he has a good chance at all of them. 200 breaststroke is probably, out of the ones you've just said, the more likely.
Yeah, just because I remember the ISL, it felt like it was on borrowed time, and then Marco Cott just ran out of time for the breakers, didn't he?
Yeah, he was getting there. He was getting closer.
He was getting closer and closer and closer, and then the breakers got knocked out.
I mean, if he's racing Budapest, which I believe he is, that's the best chance because the pool is so quick. And that's the best chance. But again, wouldn't surprise me if he breaks 1, 2, 3 of these records over the course of the next 3 weeks. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Okay, so I think that's enough of us previewing and chatting about the World Cup series. We're gonna do a lot of reviewing as the races happen, and hopefully that will enable us to do better previews as we'll get our feet under the water. And like these swimmers are going to get better through the rounds. We'll get better through the rounds talking about what races could happen, what races should happen, and who knows. But the key facts are, if you're a British swimming fan, at the first stop in Shanghai, you are going to see Ben Proud, Duncan Scott, Jimmy Guy, Mark Sharanek. If you want to watch it, it's going to be on Eurovision, but it should be free for you to stream and watch for the next 3 weeks. And they are starting, I think the first stop is Friday to Sunday, and then it's Thursday to Saturday for the next 2 stops.
Yeah, we've got it in the calendar, and that's definitely right for the first 2 weeks, and I now can't remember for the final stop.
Okay. But we'll get to that if you listen every single week.
We're going to review every week as it goes, yes, of course.
Yeah, and like we said, we'll try and get some swimmers on. I can't promise anything. Obviously, there's time zones, there's Asia, there's probably Wi-Fi in hotels. That might be an issue, but we will try and invite guests on if we can. But if not, you can listen to us chatting more things competitive swimming. Okay, so to round out this podcast, and our first one back in a little while, I want to talk about the biggest news coming out of Aquatics GB over the course of Olympics to now, and that is that Steve Tigg is now the head coach, replacing Bill Furness, who obviously had an amazing reign as head coach with, I think he was the most decorated head coach that Aquatics GB have had over the last God knows how long since they've been doing it. I think
since ever. Yeah,
exactly. I'm really excited by it because Steve is a proven winner with what he's been doing with Duncan. He's a proven leader of a program of what he's been doing with Sterling, and we've seen what Sterling have done just over the course of the last Olympic cycle. They've brought through young swimmers, they've brought back seasoned veterans and brought them back to their best with the likes of Kathleen Dawson, and I would say he's a very popular pick in terms of the swimmers
everyone
that are all currently part of the program and who want to be part of the program.
think the reaction of everyone, so swimmers, coaches, fans of British swimming or Aquatics GB, are all in good, positive mindsets about this decision.
Yeah.
Because Steve is a fantastic coach, first of all, fantastic person, and he gets to know these swimmers. He's got a different kind of way of coaching. He makes,
Quite personal.
Yeah, he's quite personal. I think that's the best way to describe it. He kind of gets to know every single swimmer, knows how they tick, and gets the best out of them. You see it with Katie Shanahan, you see it with Duncan Scott, all of the swimmers up at Stirling. And I think this country, in terms of swimming, is in great hands. And of course, it's a good time to do it at the start of a new Olympic cycle. There's been a lot of change up, actually. Loughborough's had a lot of change as well. So I think it's a really good move from Aquatics GB to get Steve as the main man.
New era, big new era to fill the boots of Bill Furness. But good luck, Steve. Hopefully we will catch him on a poolside soon. Maybe we'll have a chat with him. But yeah, very exciting moves for the next Olympic cycle and long beyond. Touch wood.
Again, it might take a few years, maybe 2 years to adjust and get to know how it all works and get the swimmers working the way that he wants to do it. Everybody, he'll obviously have a slightly different outlook than what Bill had. And it might take a little bit of time to adjust, like I was saying. But ultimately, I think it's a brilliant move, and I think we can only expect good things, if I'm honest.
Absolutely. Okay, so that just about rounds up this week's episode of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast. If you have enjoyed it, please leave us a review. Please subscribe. Me and Dan are going to be back in your ears now for the foreseeable future. The break is done. We've got episodes planned from now until, I think we're going to like January now, Dan, with what we've booked
with
in.
Our plan, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're hopefully speaking to a few more grassroots clubs over the course of, I think, starting a little bit towards the back end of this year, maybe leading into 2025. We've got exciting things planned for Bucks, which is a big competition we are going to hype up a little bit more this year, keep building momentum on university programs. And yeah, over the next few weeks, we will be uploading a little bit earlier than our usual Thursday. We're going to be on Tuesday, as you can see from this upload, because of when the racing takes place at the World Cup Series. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's all very exciting, and hopefully we stick to our plan. I think we will. We've been, like I said in the intro, we're itching to get back to it after our break. Some of our break was we didn't have a choice.
It was a little bit enforced.
A little bit, yeah. But we're very much back into the swimming side of things, and we're very excited. And it doesn't start again better with this World Cup Series, and then we'll end the year with our swimming awards, which we will have to start thinking about as well.
We'll start putting nominations out soon.
Yes, exactly. We'll do that.
Okay, so that just about rounds up this week's episode. Me and Dan will see you guys in 7 days' time.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.
You've been listening to the Propulsion Swimming Podcast with Scott and Dan. We want to thank you for joining us and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as checking out the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel for weekly tutorials and videos to get your swimming fix. We will be back next week. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one.